Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to talk about IFAKs, specifically the U S Army military issue IFAK that is issued to combat soldiers that deploy to Iraq and Afghanistan. And we are also going to talk about an IFAK that is actually from Amazon. This thing runs $39.99. And what we're going to talk about is whether this one is comparable to this, which one might be better than the other one, and is it worth it to get one or the other. So stay tuned because we're going to dive right into this. Okay, we are back, everybody, and today we are going to talk about IFAKs. And IFAK stands for Individual First Aid Kit, for those of you that don't know that. Now, the reason why I decided to do this video and talk about medical kits and stuff is that I was on Facebook, and over the past few months, I keep seeing these companies pop up that are selling IFAKs. And then I noticed some of the comments. I wasn't really looking at the comments, but usually you can see one or two or three comments, and then it says if you want to see the rest of them, click on it. And I started knowing those comments about how expensive they were. And I was looking at it and I was like, you know, you're talking about a little bag full of some medical gear that's this big. I was like, how expensive could that be? I'm thinking they're charging like, you know, 75 bucks, 80 bucks, somewhere around there for it or whatever. And so I click on it. And after I click on it, I see that they're charging between $150 to almost $300 for these little IFAK kits. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy expensive. So I go to their website because I want to see what is in this kit that costs this so much that they're charging for. And so I click on it and I see the stuff that they're putting in it. And for what they're putting in it, I find it hard to believe that that's $150 or $300 worth of stuff. And I'm like, that's crazy expensive. And there's a lot of stuff in these kits that you really don't need. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of the stuff, if you're not properly trained on it, you can end up killing somebody or hurting somebody worse than helping them. So my point with this is to talk about an IFAK kit that the average person would want to have or use and stuff. And I'm not saying that these kits aren't bad that they're selling. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not diminishing the price quality of their gear because they have some really good equipment in there. But some of the stuff in there is stuff that you need to be like an EMT basic to understand how to use or to be trained on to use. And so when you don't know how to do that stuff, you could actually end up hurting or killing somebody. So I want to compare this IFAK kit, which is my U S Army military issue one that was issued to me when I was a combat soldier for the Army. And my experience in being a combat soldier, I have over 9 years as a combat soldier in the U S Army. And I do have a deployment to Iraq under my belt as well, so a combat deployment. And so I still have my kit, and it's a great kit, but I want to show you the differences between this kit and one that you can get on Amazon, like this one right here. And this one was $39.99. They usually, these little kits, you get $39.99, $49.99, $59.99, depending on what's in the kit. And we want to talk about what do you really need. And this is all, in my opinion, what I think you really need. You know, to have a good little individual medical kit that you carry with you if you're hiking or camping or doing anything of that such and stuff. And you can add to these to add a few things to make them a little better for not a whole lot of money. So I wanted to get into that and talk about this to explain to you that you don't have to spend $150 or $300 on a kit. And that's the other thing that bothered me about these companies, is that the arrogance of these people saying, if you can find something better or find a better quality or something, then, you know, do it. Or they were saying that if you're buying stuff that's not like this, then it's inferior, untested products and, you know, don't work, and you want the best that you can have. Well, you do want the best you have. And I will tell you, when it comes to any type of gear, you want to get the best gear that you can afford. But that's the key, is what you can afford. You always want to buy the best gear you can afford, whether that's packs, whether that's shoes, whether that's knives, whether that's guns, whether that's whatever, cars, vehicles. The best that you can afford is what you want. But when you can't afford $150, $200, $300 for an IFAK, what do you do? And I want to show you in this pack what the U S Army thinks that you should have in a combat situation. And when we're talking about a combat situation, we're talking about, you know, getting shot with sucking chest wounds and severe injuries. And that's what this is. And then we're going to show what you can get in a kit that you can just buy off of Amazon. And I will tell you my thoughts on what I think on both, you know, and what I think, you know, what's comparable, what's not comparable, and stuff like that. And being somebody that's actually had to use some of this stuff in real world situations and stuff, I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions. Now, because of this and because we're talking about this, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background experience so you understand that I'm not just some Joe Schmo that's spewing this stuff out of here that has never actually had to use medical equipment like this. So I already said I have over 9 years as a combat soldier in the U S Army and stuff. And besides that, and aside from that, I started as a trail guide when I was 13 years old in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. And from the time I was 13 until I was 17, I guided people on overnight trail rides that would be 2 or 3 nights up on top of mountains. And we had some situations rise where people got hurt or things happened. And I'm not going to get into everything that happened, but we had to use medical kits to take care of these people. There's no way, and that was back when there wasn't cell phones. There's nobody to call. You have to get them off that mountain. And that ride from the bottom of the mountain to the top of that mountain is 4.5 to 5 hours, depending on how fast you can move with the people you're taking. So you're talking about having to give care to somebody for 5 hours or more to get them down that mountain, to get them to an ambulance that then has to take them another 20 miles to the nearest hospital. So I have that experience from when I was very young. And then when I was 17 was when I first enlisted in the U S Army, and I served 3 years and ended up getting a severe head wound my first time in and got out. And then I re-enlisted many years later and went back into the Army and did another enlistment and ended up being injured multiple times again. And I was medically retired, and that's what ended my career. So I have experience with using these IFAK kits. And then on top of that stuff, in between my break in service that I had, I lived in Wyoming for over 10 years, and I was a horseback trail guide in the summer, I was a snowmobile guide in the winter, and I was also on search and rescue for many, many, many years. I did search and rescue in the Rocky Mountains of Wyoming, and I've had to save several people in my life, and I've had to utilize this stuff on a regular basis. I also was a certified EMT when I was out in Wyoming, which I was a certified EMT basic. So let's cover that. There's basic, intermediate, and expert, and there's levels to being an EMT. But I was a certified EMT B as well when I was out there while I was on search and rescue. So I have a lot of experience in using gear like this, going out and saving people's lives and utilizing this stuff. And that's my background to be talking about this stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and BS you about what's going on. I'm not trying to sell you any product either, because I'm not endorsing any product that I have here. I just want to cover stuff for the average person that's looking for a good little medical kit that they can take with them if they go on a hike or they go camping or whatever, so they have something with them. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is that having some medical gear with you is better than nothing, no matter what it is. So let's get into these packs. Let's show you what they got, and then I'll give you my final thoughts after we're done. Now, these packs have a couple things that I've added to them in these packs, so I'm going to pull those items out. But we're going to start off with the U.S. Army. This is U.S. Army Military Issue Pack. This is the one that I was issued. This is the one that I took on my deployment, and you can see it's all faded and dirty and worn out and everything, but it's still a good pack. It's survived a lot. There's a lot of stories in this thing, but I'm going to show it to you. So we're going to unclip it right here, and we're going to pull this out. So these Band-Aids don't come with it, okay? That is one thing that does not come with this pack. So we're going to open it up and we're going to pull it out. This is what you got. This is actually a compression pad pack right here. This is a military field issue compression pad that I had in there. I honestly think that we got this and then we were added this later, but it's in the thing, so we're going to count this as something that's actually in the pack. Okay. I can't remember because it's been so long ago. But this card, just so you know, this is actually a card that is in this pack. And this is your injury or death card. All right. This is your casualty feeder card that comes in this. And this is what they check on it and tells you. It has military, contractor, civilian, or other. Placement of your grid, death, date and time, place of death. This is literally your death card that is in this. This comes in your pack for the Army. so they can fill this out if you get killed in action. Kind of crazy, right? And that is still in there in my pack, which is kind of crazy that I have that in there. But let's open this up and see what we got. So it's also connected to a cord so you don't lose it. Now, the other thing you guys got to understand about these packs is these individual first aid kits. This is first aid kit for you, not for your battle buddy. So if you are injured in combat, your buddies are going to come over, flip you over to wherever this is at. They're going to open this up, and then they're going to use this stuff on you. They're not going to use their pack on you. They're going to use your pack on you. That's what it's for. So we're going to open this up like this so you can kind of see what all is in here. This is a really neat setup. I really like this a lot. But the first thing you got is a cat tourniquet right here, and this one is a new one. The other one that I had in here actually ended up getting used, not on me. We used it for training stuff, but I ended up getting a new one after that. But this is a cat tourniquet. If you guys don't know how to use one of these, it's pretty simple. You put it around there, you tighten it up, you twist the bar, and then there's a way to lock it so it locks on there and stuff. And there's instructions on how to do it in these things as well. But there's a tourniquet in here. These are great little tourniquets and stuff, and we're going to compare apples to oranges once we get into this as well on tourniquets from what comes into this one and that one. And then in here, you've got your quick clot combat gauze, which this is awesome stuff. This is awesome stuff, and this stuff will stop bleeding like crazy, and it's awesome to have. But these quick clot bandages aren't that cheap. So you can get compression bandages that aren't quick clot and stuff. And what we used to have is stuff like this. This is a non-quick clot one. So the difference is this doesn't have quick clot, this does have quick clot. And these are amazing and stuff, and I do recommend you having these in your kit if you can afford them, but it's not cheap to get this stuff. So you can go with these and be just fine as well. And then in here, there's a nasal cania right here. And if you guys don't know what a nasal cania is, it's this rubber tube like that. And that rubber tube is so you can get an airway through somebody's nose. If their face is all smashed up, their jaw's blown off, obstructed, something that's obstructing the airway where you can't get it that way, you can run a nasal cania back and do that as well. But that is something that you have to get trained on, because there's a special way to run those down under to get them down your throat and stuff. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up suffocating somebody. Then there's gloves right here, a little pack of gloves. Those are military issue, so you're not getting junk all over you. But honestly, when you're triaging somebody out in a military environment, you're usually not thinking about gloves. You're usually thinking about stopping the bleeding because it's your buddy. You've got some ace bandage wrap. This is tape, excuse me, not ace bandage wrap, but tape. This is tape, and they have it on a hook roll so you don't lose it, so it doesn't disappear on, so you can peel it off and use it. So that's your tape. We're gonna tuck that back in there. And then we got another combat compression bandage right here. So this is your trauma wound dressing, and it tells you actually how to use it back here as well. So you got a trauma wound dressing, which is another compression type bandage. And then over here, you got more compressed gauze in a pack right there. And that's so you can, if you get more minor injuries and stuff. And that is all there is in this combat kit. This is, again, this is what is issued to a U.S. Army soldier going to war in Iraq or Afghanistan. This is the kit. That's it. It's that simple. That's what we get. And that's what the U.S. Army thinks that you should have in an IFAK kit. So I wanted to show you guys that so you can see what the U.S. Army issues a soldier. This is what we get. This is how simple our combat kits are. So just so you understand. Now, we're going to slide this over. And I want to keep it open because I want to do some comparing here in a minute. We're going to slide this over, and we're going to move to this. I'm going to put these bandages back over here. Yeah, so the add-on that I did is I added some regular type bandages and stuff. Just regular Band-Aid bandages I add for smaller cuts and abrasions and stuff that I added to that kit. That's what I added in that, and that's about all I could fit in there. Now let's move over to this kit. So this kit I got from Amazon. This kit was $39.99, I think, or $49.99. I can't remember. I think it was $39.99. Because I didn't want the one with the cheap, crappy knife that they throw in there or anything like that. But this is a super cool kit, and I'm going to show you why. The first thing that's cool, all right, it's got MOLLE webbing attaching on it, which is super cool. But the other cool thing about it is that once you mount this up, you don't have to try to pull the MOLLE off. This is designed for a quick release, so if you got it hooked to your MOLLE, you can just peel it off. Sorry. You can peel it off like that. This stays attached to your pack or to your side, whatever you got to hook to your uniform, whatever your body armor, whatever you got to hook for, that stays to it, and then you can just grab the kit. So that's a super cool feature on this already that this doesn't have. So you can do that, which is nice, and I like that. I like the molly webbing and stuff. And then when you open this up, you're going to pull this little tab right here, which is an extra security safety, so if the zippers go out, you still keep your stuff together. And then we're going to open this kit up, and this thing opens up pretty darn nicely. Now we got some extra stuff in here. Like I said, I've got a few extra things in here that didn't come with it. So this is extra, and these top bandages are extra. So we're going to set those off to the side because that's extra stuff that I put in there. Now this is what comes in this kit. All right, remember, these are $39.99 or $49.99. I think this one was $39.99. So like 40 to 50 bucks. This is what you're getting. So you got some ace bandage wrap, small, but will wrap up, and you can use this to wrap up bandages and stuff. That's the first thing you got in there. Okay, we're going to set that over here. Okay, you got a pair of scissors, trauma shears. These are actually, for what they are, they're pretty good little cutters. I actually was impressed with them. They're not super high end. These are kind of light plasticky, but they will definitely get the job done and definitely cut just fine. And if you're just cutting, I mean, what are you doing with it? You're just cutting. You're just cutting things. So they don't have to be, you know, like a freaking bushcraft knife that has a thickness that big. They don't have to be like that. So they just have to cut, and these actually cut. Now I'm going to upgrade mine because I like a nicer pair of shears, and for, you know, a few bucks you can upgrade to a nice pair of trauma shears, and I'm going to end up doing that. But I will say that these little trauma shears will do the job. So that's the first thing. So now you got trauma shears in it. It also comes with a little Sharpie, and the little Sharpie actually does write. I was shocked that it writes. And it comes with a little whistle. So you got a little whistle too. So that's kind of cool that they did that. It's just a whistle, you know, it's nothing special. But let's start over here, and I've got a few more bandages I think in here. No, this stuff came with it. That's right. All this stuff came with it. Okay, so this is a trauma wound dressing. So this is like your compression dressing right here and stuff. This is the one that you wrap around and then you can lock it and stuff. So there's a trauma wound dressing, which is comparable to this dressing or this dressing right here on the army bag. So this is basically this. So this is this when you're carrying apples to oranges on this kit. Okay, so you have one of those. All right, then in here you have a bunch of different disposable gloves. This is a couple sterile pads for doing bandaging and stuff. You have several sterile pads, and that's what you got right there. That's sterile pads and disposable gloves right there in this pocket down here. Okay, then here you've got an ace bandage right there. So let's put that back in there. The one thing I really like about this kit is that it actually comes with a forming splint. So this is an actual splint. So you can splint a broken leg, broken arm, a broken bone, and it folds out and you can splint it and have a splint. So this is an actual splint that comes in this that you don't get in there. You also don't get an ace bandage in here as well. So there's already a couple things. You don't get ace bandage wrap as well in here. There's already a couple things. You don't get trauma shears in this kit as well. So there's several things already that's in this kit that doesn't come in this kit. Okay, now we're going to pull out this right here. This is triangular bandage. All right, and if you see like this, you can see that you can make a sling with this bandage, or you can use it as a bandage to tie off things. You could even, if you wanted to, this type of bandage and stuff, if you wrap it right and stuff, it could end up being a tourniquet if you needed to do that to help use for stuff like that. Which is cool. So that's another bandage there. Then you've also got your freaking emergency blanket. They put one of those little space blankets in there, which is cool, which you don't get in your army kit as well. And there's also a tourniquet in here as well. This is just a basic tourniquet. It's nothing fancy or anything, but I'll tell you, when you hold this tourniquet to this tourniquet, this one actually feels beefier than this one that I got in the army. And I noticed that when I took it out. But they're basically the same kit. They basically have the same handle, same everything, same setup. This is just the military's version, whoever contracted for that, and this is one that you get from the civilian version. But this is a tourniquet that will work, okay? So they're really, to me, there's no, it's apples to oranges. It's just one company made this one, another company made that one, as far as I can see and tell. So you get a tourniquet in there as well. So that's what we got in this kit right here. That's what comes in this. Oh, I forgot. Over here as well, you got this other compartment where you've got tape. You got 2 small rolls of tape right here, and you've got more bandages, alcohol pads. If I can pull this out right here, it comes with this little pack. You got alcohol pads and stuff like that for sterilization, and some band-aids in there as well. That's what comes in this kit right here. So all in all, for just a good basic kit to have, so you got some medical supplies with you when you were doing whatever, I feel that this is a great kit and a great value for the money that you're paying for it. I mean, you really can't beat what's in here. Is it the top of the line medical equipment? No, it's not. But will it work and do what it's supposed to do? 100% it will. 100% it will. So you can upgrade your shears later on. You can upgrade your bandages later on as you use your bandages. You can add some more bandages like I have in this kit, where I added a few things that I felt I wanted to have in there, a little bit more stuff, so to have a little bit more than what was in this kit. So I have a few extra things, like I have this gauze wrap. I've got some bigger pads, gauze pads and stuff in this kit that I felt were necessary to have in this kit for me. But when you're comparing what's in this kit to compare what's in this military issue kit, there's a lot more stuff in here in this kit. And you can add, like I added an extra compression bandage, so I have two bandages in there. Eventually I'm going to put a quick clot gauze pads in here as well and stuff. I need to throw one in here, I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to add a couple things to this kit, and then this kit is going to be awesome, and it's still going to be way under $150, $200, whatever it is. So my point with this is, you got people out there that are trying to sell you this stuff and say, oh, you have to get this is the best gear, this is the best everything, and that's great. If you guys want to get the top of the line medical stuff that, you know, your surgeons and your EMTs and your nurses and all them are using, hey man, more power to you. Buy it. You know, if you can afford it, freaking buy it. But if you're a person that's on a budget, like I'm on a budget and stuff, you want to find good medical equipment that's going to do the job at a reasonable price. And I'm going to tell you right now, for me, there is nothing wrong with this little kit that I got that probably came from China. And it does the job, and it's going to do the job, you know. And the main thing you want to make sure you have is that you have some sort of medical supplies, so when you're out there by yourself doing your thing, you've got something that if you get injured or you get hurt, you can take care of yourself. Because the thing with these kits are about stopping the bleeding so you can get to help. Understand that. These kits aren't designed to fix yourself up like you went to the hospital and then you just go about your day. These kits are designed to stop major injuries, so you can get help, so you don't bleed out or die where you're at. Now, so, like I said, some of these kits out there have things. They have like the needle for if you have a collapsed lung, being able to go through the ribs right here and actually uncollapse that lung and get air back in that lung. Well, if you're not trained on how to do that, how to put that needle through the rib to get it into the lung so you can get air back in the lung, you can end up killing somebody doing that. Learning how to use a trachea, where you're running a trach down somebody's throat, there's a technique to that, and if you're not trained on how to do it, don't practice, you could end up killing somebody. Running a nasal cania is the same way. When you're running a tube down somebody's throat that goes all the way down the throat into their airway, and you don't know what you're doing, you could end up killing somebody doing that. So you have to have training on that stuff. If you have that stuff in your kit and you know how to use it, great. But if you have that stuff in your kit and you don't know how to use it, you can end up doing more harm than good. And that's my point with these kits that these people are putting out there. They're putting things like nasal canias and trachs and things in there with the understanding that the people that are putting these kits together are highly trained people. They're people that were corpsmen in the Navy or something of that nature, which is great because they know how to use all that stuff. But the average person doesn't know how to do that. The average person needs a kit that if they hurt themselves, say they cut themselves or sprain or break an ankle or get some minor injuries when they're out in the woods, that they can treat it to where they can get themselves home, where they don't bleed out, they don't die or anything like that. If you have a sucking chest wound out in the middle of nowhere and you end up puncturing a big old hole through yourself and stuff, you're probably dead. Okay, if you're out there by yourself and you think that you're going to be able to stop that bleeding, especially if you go all the way through. If you go in here and it comes out the other side, you've got 2 holes to plug. Okay, and unless you can reach on your back, you're probably not going to make it. You can try to bandage this up the best you can, but you're probably not going to make it. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit and say that this kit is going to be the thing, end all be all thing, because there isn't one. Not unless you're carrying a big combat pack that our combat medics used to carry and stuff. It's not going to do it. These are used to treat major triage, big injuries, to stop the bleeding, to get you to help. These things are designed to stop that bleeding, get you medevaced out to wherever you need to go, to get you to hospital so they can treat you properly. And these IFAK kits, that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to get the treatment that you need to stop the bleeding so you can get out of that situation and get help, okay? It's not something that's there to just fix you up and so you can keep rolling along. It's something there to fix you up enough to get you to proper medical care. And that's where I see these people advertising this thing, and they advertise it's like the greatest thing in the world. It's not the end all be all. And for everybody, it's different. What you need to do is you need to get a kit, a basic kit like this, that's your starter kit if you don't know anything, and then start adding the things that you feel that you're going to need in that kit. Now, for me, most of this stuff was good. Like I said, I added a few things to it, and it's good to go. And I have one of these actual kits on all my packs and stuff that I take with it. I even keep one in the truck, and that's why I have the extra band-aids and things in there for minor cuts and things like that I can treat, and it gives me some medical supplies in a situation that I can utilize it to treat myself, or if I have to treat somebody else, I have some medical stuff on hand. But you have to understand what is the concept for an individual first aid kit in the first place, which is to give yourself individual first aid. Okay, and it's to give individual first aid on serious injuries. If you get a paper cut, you're not going to need an IFAK for that. You're probably going to kind of wipe the blood off and hold your finger there for a couple seconds and then go about your day. You might put a little band-aid on it. But if you're using an axe or something out in the woods and you end up cutting yourself severely, then having a pressure bandage like this where you can clean it up, bandage it up, tie it off, get yourself some help, that's what you want. So, I don't want people having those misconceptions and stuff about what you think you need, and seeing these people that are trying to sell you a product because they're trying to make money and sell you this product and say you have to have this, because you don't have to have that. You just need a good basic medical kit that gives you something, so if you're out there and something happens, you have something on hand to treat those injuries so you can get yourself out of that situation and get the proper help you need. And that's what having a medical kit is all about. It's not about having the best, top, latest, and greatest. It's just having a good kit put together with a good few things in there that if you do end up in a situation where you need some medical attention and you're out there by yourself, you can do that to yourself, get yourself out of that situation, and get to medical care that you need. And that's what these are designed for. And for the money, I will say that this little kit is a great little kit. This little kit from Amazon that probably came, like I said, from China, is actually a good little starter kit. It's a good little base kit. Let's call it a base kit. It's a good little base kit to start with, and then you can add the things you want and upgrade the stuff that's in it as you go. Like if you want a better type ace bandage, get a better type ace bandage. You want more military style compression bandages, pick up a few of those and put them in there and add it as you go. But this is a great starting point. And as you can see, this little kit comes with a lot more than what they actually give a U.S. soldier going into a war zone that's most likely gonna get hurt somewhere along the line. And take it from somebody that actually has had that happen, and I've suffered 18 different injuries in combat. And it's a whole long story about how all that stuff happened, but I will tell you right now that most likely it's gonna happen, and this is what they give us. So I think for the money, this is a great little kit. Do I think that you could buy certain pieces and upgrade it and make it better? 100%. 100% you can make it better than what it is when you get it. But if you don't know where to start and you're not sure what to get, and you just want to make sure you have some medical supplies on you, this little kit is a great little kit to have. And then you can look at it and then you can start figuring it out from there. Now, this is just my opinion, by the way, so don't go freaking out and thinking I'm some expert, because I'm not. I told you about my experiences and why I do this stuff and stuff, but I'm trying to give you guys the reality of medical stuff, and the reality of what you really need versus what these people are trying to sell you. All right, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not even trying to sell you this little kit. All right, I'm just telling you that you can find little IFAK kits like this that are budget friendly, that will get you started on having a decent little medical kit that you can throw in your truck, throw in your car, or take with you when you're hiking. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You can figure out what you want when you want. You want to spend the $150, $200? Hey man, do it, because their kits are good kits. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. They got a lot of good gear in it and stuff. But I will say this: there's a bunch of crap in there that if you don't know how to use it properly, it's useless to you. So you need to look at what you need, what you do, and what your medical experiences are. You know, what is your training in the medical field? I have formal training in the medical field. You know, the other thing that the Army does is that because they're short on combat medics, and even when I was deployed, we didn't have any combat medics with us. Everybody takes combat lifesaver courses in the U S Army, and a combat lifesavers course is basically learning to become an EMT basic, because most of us, we have to do our own medical care. When I was over in Iraq, we had to CASEVAC ourselves. You have a hard time even getting air support to get a medevac bird to come get you because of the sandstorms and the weather and just logistics in general and stuff. There's a lot of times where we had to put our casualties in the vehicles and drive them to the nearest fob, and then we could get them on a bird and get them to the hospital. So there's a lot of logistics involved in that stuff. So what I'm just trying to say is, for the average person, the average guy out there that's trying to figure out what to do or what to carry, you don't have to spend $150, $200, $300 to have a decent little medical kit on you for emergency situations. And so I personally, in my opinion, I'm going to say this again, in my opinion, I think these little kits that you can get on Amazon aren't actually that bad. Would I upgrade some of the stuff in it? Of course, I'm going to upgrade it, and I have already been putting little things in and stuff and adding things that I want to put in it, so I have a little bit of extra. And you can do that. You can buy a little piece here, buy a little piece there. That way you're not breaking the bank, and you can build up to the kit that you really want. But you can at least start with something, so you have something on hand to start with, and then you can adjust to that as you go. So anyway, enough of that, enough said. I think I've made my point with this video, and I hope this helps you guys out. Any of you guys that are out fishing, because I'm a big fisherman. If you guys are watching this channel, you see I have a ton of fishing videos, but having a good little kit like this on your kayak, on your boat, in your truck is a great little thing. It's compact, and if you guys are on a boat or out in kayak and doing any of that stuff, you should have some sort of medical kit with you at all times and stuff, because I've had fish hooks in me, I've cut myself, I've had all kinds of things happen when I've been out fishing or hunting for that matter and stuff, and having a small little medical kit to treat that stuff goes a long way. You want to take a small kit like this and put it in a Ziploc so it's sealed so it doesn't get wet, but you definitely want to have something on you. So anyway, these are my thoughts on it. You guys, leave comments down below and tell me what you think, and tell me what you guys are doing, and stuff. I mean, this is what I think is viable for most people, is buying one of these little kits that are put together and then enhancing it as they go. And so that's why, I say that, yes, I think you can find a little kit on Amazon that can get you started to have a good little IFAK, and then you can upgrade that stuff as you go along and end up turning it into a really amazing kit, in no time. So that's my suggestions. That's my opinions. In my opinion, that's what I think. Tell me what you guys think about what the military gives us, as a combat soldier. What do you think about this IFAK that we're issued versus this IFAK that you can buy on Amazon? I mean, I'd really like to know, do you think that this is actually kind of a little bit better kit, minus the quick clot, than what the Army gives soldiers, or no? I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I'm sure there's a bunch of military guys out there that carry this same thing and know exactly what I'm talking about. Me personally, I think both of them are good kits. I think what the Army gave us is just fine. You didn't need a ton of stuff. You just need to stop bleeding and stuff. In the middle of a firefight, if your buddy gets hit, you're going to sit there and put your knee on wherever he's shot to try to stop the bleeding and keep shooting at the bad guys, because you can't treat your casualties until you eliminate the threat. And any combat soldier knows that. You're going to pull your guy out of the kill zone, pull him into some sort of safety, and you got to keep fighting until it's over, and then you can treat him. So you're hoping he can treat himself, so it can get pretty dicey when that stuff's going on. But anyway, so thoughts, questions, opinions, whatever you guys think, leave it down below. Please keep it civil. Don't need any hate, because this is a subject that, you know, is serious, and you want to make sure people are getting the right information for being able to make good decisions on what to take with them when they're doing this stuff. You know, I'm trying to show you something that's a base to start with, that if you don't know anything about medical care or anything like that, you can at least have something that could get you started, and then you can do some more research and learn. I'm also trying to show you that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these IFAK kits that these people are trying to sell you now, and saying this is the best and the greatest and you have to have this, and if you don't buy this then it's unproven, untested stuff, because that's a bunch of crap, because they obviously haven't tested this kit. And I want to see a comparison before you make statements like that. You need to make comparisons of that gear. If you really want to sell your product, then take one of these and take your product and do some videos comparing the two, using the two, showing how they work, showing the inferior product versus the superior product, and letting people make honest decisions about it. All I did today is show you what comes in a standard military issue kit versus what you can get on Amazon, and what I feel about it in my opinion, and as far as what I think. And I think for the price and for the money and for getting started with a basic IFAK kit when you don't have a clue as to what to have in it, I think this little kit is not a bad deal, honestly. You know, the IFAK pack itself is made very well. It seems very durable. We'll see how they hold up over time. So far I haven't had any issues with them. They've been holding up. I've only been using these. I picked up a few of these not too long ago, so I haven't been using them that long, but so far they're holding up to the rigors of what's going on and stuff, and I have no complaints, you know, and it holds what I need it to hold. So only time will tell. Over, you know, see how the years go, because for a long time I've been toting around, obviously, my U S Army one that I issued. This has been my main one that I've had for a long time, but I wanted to try out some of these other ones, so now I've switched over and I have these on all my packs right now. And I wouldn't even think about doing that if I didn't think it was gonna serve me well if I needed it, because you're talking about my life, and I like my life. I like breathing. So anyway, a little bit longer than I really wanted this to go, but I really wanted to try to cover this stuff, and you know, I hope this helps you guys out. There's a lot of different ways you can skin this cat, and you can even buy this bag and just create your own kit if you want. I mean, that's a viable option as well, because they do sell these pouches, these IFAK pouches, just by themselves, and you can set it up your own way, which maybe a lot of people want to do, and that's a way to do it on a budget as well, just kind of add as you go type stuff. So you can figure it out. But for me, this is about the person that doesn't have a clue how to set up an IFAK or what to put in it or what they need. You can get a little kit off of Amazon, and that can get you started. And do I think that it's a viable little kit to start with? I do. Me personally, I do. And this is coming from a guy that has actually had to use this stuff. So am I going to say it's the best and it's the greatest? No, I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to say, will it get the job done? It sure as hell will. So that's what you have to look at. And do I think that it's going to get the job done? Yeah, sure. So you guys tell me what you guys think down in the comments. I just want to make this video because I think it's crazy that these guys are trying to sell an IFAK pack for $150, $200, $300. And I think that there's more viable options out there. It may not be the top of the line gear, but it will definitely do the job, and it'll definitely do what it needs to do to take care of those injuries. So that's my opinion. That's what I think about it. You guys tell me what you think about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps some people out. You have to make the best decisions, what works for you out there when you're out in the field doing stuff, and that's what I do for me. But I just feel that there's so much controversy when it comes to these IFAKs and people hating on these little packs that you can get on Amazon, and I have to disagree with them. Me personally, I have to disagree. I think this little kit that you can get on Amazon for $39.99 or $49.99 is a viable little kit to start with. 100%, hands down. That's my opinion. You guys tell me what you guys think. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the subscribers. Please hit that like and subscribe button, because that really helps the channel out, and I will see you guys on the next video.